Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, the battle for Tamil Nadu is heating up ahead of the state elections, with stalwarts of the BJP and the Congress both set to visit the southern state today. BJP President JP Nadda will kickstart his party's poll campaign by attending a Pongal event in Chennai. He will also address the Tughlaq magazine's 51st anniversary program. As for Rahul Gandhi, he will be attending the Jallikattu event in Madurai. His visit has been slammed by the BJP, which has now accused the Congress of changing its stance for votes over this traditional sport. As far as the local parties, the ruling AIDMK continues its outreach with Pongal bonanza of rupees 2,500 for all the rice card holders. Now, BJP leader Khushbu Sundar has slammed Rahul Gandhi ahead of his visit to the state, accusing his party of being the reason why Jallikattu was banned earlier.
I think they are very desperate to come and show the people that they stand with them. Jallikattu didn't happen because Mr. Jairam Ramesh is the one who actually brought it to the book, saying that along with PETA, he said that it was against the well-being of the animals which are being used for Jallikattu. So I just hope that when Mr. Rahul Gandhi comes, he does not upset the people, the public who are there to watch this Jallikattu.
And my colleagues will be joining me from Chennai in Bangalore. Deepa already joining us from Bangalore. Deepa, good morning. Pongal has become poll politics because this is a poll-bound state. All the big wigs in the state to ensure that Pongal can also be used as a time to get all the votes possible. You have JP Nadda as well as Rahul Gandhi. It will be a face-off as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned today.
Oh, absolutely. Pongal politics is what is playing out this year, primarily because the assembly elections are barely 4 months away. And you're having JP Nadda in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai, celebrating Pongal. You have Rahul Gandhi in Madurai celebrating Pongal. You also have RSS Chief Mohan Bhagwat also in Tamil Nadu today celebrating Pongal. So everyone wants to ensure that they're seen on the ground on this important festival day for the Tamil voter. Secondly, of course, all parties are going all out to woo with sops and some kind of freebies. You had that ADMK, which is ruling Tamil Nadu, talk about giving out a dole of 2,500 rupees to every ration card bearing family. At the same time, the DMK in the opposition also talked about how it would promise waiver of all kinds of farm loans once it comes to power after the assembly election. So certainly the SOP battle also playing out on the ground. The BJP also ensuring that they are going full throttle aggressively against the Congress in this battleground, saying that the cultural legacy of the state and of the Tamil voter has not been actually given enough credence by the Congress in earlier days, and whenever they were in power at the center, they tried to throttle the celebration of Jallikattu, and now they're actually doing what they're doing currently by participating in Jallikattu is really hypocritical. And this is something the BJP has taken on, to ensure that they do say that they're taking pot shots at the Congress at every mile, every minute of the way as they try and celebrate Jallikattu.
Right, Deepa, stay on with us. Revti also now joining us from Chennai. Revti, good morning. I want to talk about this entire war of words as far as Jallikattu is concerned, because this is a traditional sport and now you're seeing politicians do what they do best, which is politics. Now you have the BJP hitting out at Rahul Gandhi, saying that this is very, very hypocritical. Just take us through some of the other itinerary that involves Rahul Gandhi's visit.
Good morning. Rahul Gandhi will be arriving in Madurai at around 11 a.m. His only program today is participating in Pongal celebration, specifically Jallikattu sport, witnessing Jallikattu sport in Avaniyapuram in Madurai. Now, this is the center as far as the ritualistic celebrations go. And if you remember, during the pro-Jallikattu protest, apart from Chennai, the major center where thousands had gathered for the protest was in Madurai. Now, the war of words between the BJP and Congress, a quick review of where this comes from. Now, 2006 is when the Tamil Nadu High Court banned Jallikattu. Following that, 2019, the Tamil Nadu Assembly brought in an act that allowed Jallikattu. Following this, 2011, when the Congress was in power, when UPA was in power, the Ministry of Environment actually put out a notification banning bulls from the sport. Now, following this, PETA approached the Supreme Court in 2014, and following that is when the entire series of protests, and every year when Jallikattu was supposed to take place, there were a lot of legal issues as well that we saw. Protests that turned major in both Chennai as well as in Madurai. Remember, the Narendra Modi government then also vowed that he would support Tamil Nadu. So there are a lot of to and fro going back and forth on this particular issue. Both High Court, Supreme Court being involved, both the Congress and the BJP government being involved in this entire series of events in the last, starting 2006 onwards, if you look at it. Congress was seen as a party who is opposing this traditional sport in Tamil Nadu. BJP has projected themselves as the party who is upholding the cultural values of Tamil Nadu. So that is where the parties are now picking up. BJP is now picking that up and taking potshot at the Congress, saying that the Congress had once issued a notification saying that the sport is cruel. You have to avoid using bulls in the sport. And now how can the same party leader come to Madurai and witness the sport and call themselves as pro-Tamilian or a culture, pro-Tamil culture? So they have to first apologize for the stand that they had taken years ago and then come to Tamil Nadu and support the sport as well as the celebrations here.
Right. Revati, just stay on with us. Deepa, I want to bring you back in the conversation. Now, it's not just Pongal politics which is playing out in Tamil Nadu. There is another layer of politics playing out because this is a poll-bound state. Alliances are very, very clear as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned. The AIDMK with the BJP and the DMK with the Congress, because the seat sharing, we still don't know how it will look like. For the Congress, they also want to be seen on the ground to ensure that maybe the alliance, if they have to go ahead, and the seat sharing that they would want also goes ahead well with DMK. And that can only be done if they see on the ground, especially at a time when Pongal is on.
Well, being seen on the ground is very important for all the parties, of course, but also important is to ensure that they, pull off a victory in all the constituencies where they are able to contest. The Lok Sabha election, they had a similar alliance and it did work well for the Congress. So what they are looking at is riding really on the popularity of the DMK as well, but also ensuring that they get their footing and they get it in firmly in the assembly with at least a reasonably good show in the assembly election. So they are out there in full force. In fact, the party in charge for Tamil Nadu, for the Congress, is a former Karnataka Congress president who travels to Tamil Nadu almost 3 to 4 days a week, and they have started their groundwork in full form for the last about 2 months now. They're already looking at what are the kind of candidates they want, who are they going to be fielding in the contest, and what is going to be their election strategy.
Right. Deepa and Revati, thanks for getting us all those details. That's the latest coming in from